Being a chosen one isn't just a spiritual identity, it's a living experience that constantly pulls you into the extraordinary. You don't walk through this world like everyone else. Your energy is different. It speaks before you open your mouth. And because of that, you attract attention, both divine and disturbing. There are people who can't take their eyes off you. Even in silence, they watch. Even in distance, they feel connected. And though they may pretend they've moved on, they're still captivated by your light, haunted by your memory. These aren't just admirers. Some of them are stalkers, emotionally, spiritually, energetically obsessed. They observe, follow, mimic, and crave access to your essence. You've left such a deep imprint on their soul that they feel powerless to let go. And while that may sound flattering, the truth is far more complex. You represent something they lost. Something they never had. Something they fear they will never become. Your presence was a mirror, and now that it's gone, they're still staring into the reflection, trying to find themselves in you. If this truth is already stirring something in your soul, type "I see beyond" in the comments to declare your clarity. Let the universe know that you are no longer blind to what's hidden in plain sight. And if you're ready to dive deeper into this revelation, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a message made for you. They can't stop thinking about you, even if they try to convince themselves otherwise. You walk through their minds like a sacred ghost, present even in absence. Your voice echoes in their silence. Your energy lingers in their space long after you've gone. This fixation is not about love. It's about hunger, an emotional starvation they feel when they realize they tasted something divine in your presence. You became their wake-up call, their glimpse of a better version of themselves. But instead of rising to match your frequency, they cling to the idea of you, hoping it will fill what only their own healing can. They watch from afar, disguising their obsession as curiosity. On social media, they scroll through your photos, read your words, and try to decode your soul like a secret message from God. They ask about you through mutual connections, pretending it's harmless. But it's not harmless, it's a silent scream. Every click, every view, every attempt to peek into your world is a confession. You were the spark in their life. You were the shift they didn't know they needed. And now that you're not around, their world feels dimmer, duller, and desperate for your light again. What they don't realize is that your presence was never meant to entertain their wounds, it was meant to wake them up. But instead of healing, they projected. Instead of rising, they retreated into longing. You became their unfinished story. Their spiritual what if. And so they become watchers in the shadows, unable to move forward, unwilling to fully let go. You, chosen one, are not just missed, you are mourned. Not because you died, but because the version of them that came alive in your presence has faded without you there. This is why you must be aware. Not paranoid, not afraid, but spiritually aware. The intensity of your energy attracts many, but not all who come near you have pure intentions. Some are sent by the divine. Others are sent as distractions or distortions. There are people who don't want to heal, they just want to feed off of you. And they'll do it quietly, smiling, even pretending to support you. But behind their curiosity is an agenda, to feel close to greatness without ever doing the work to become great themselves. You carry a light that exposes darkness. And that light is both sacred and dangerous to those hiding from themselves. Yet, no matter how much they watch, they cannot reach the core of who you are. Divine protection surrounds you like a spiritual firewall. The more they try to tap into your essence without permission, the more resistance they face. Their lives start crumbling, not because you cursed them, but because they violated spiritual law. Touch not God's anointed. That's not just biblical, it's energetic truth. When someone tries to manipulate or steal from a chosen one, karma accelerates. Their obsession becomes a doorway to their downfall, unless they choose repentance and healing. Your light cannot be stolen, it can only be honored. Remember, your spiritual power is not always loud. It's not in flashy miracles or dramatic encounters. It's in your peace, your silence, your discernment. It's in the way you know things without having to see them. In the way people are exposed just by standing in your presence. You carry truth in your energy. And truth is offensive to those who are living a lie. That's why they stare. That's why they follow. That's why they obsess. You didn't cast a spell on them, your authenticity did. Your alignment did. And now, they don't know how to unfeel what you activated inside them. You were sent into their lives as a divine interruption. A holy disruption. You came with answers they weren't ready to receive. And when you left, by choice or by force, they realized they had experienced something eternal in a temporary form. You weren't just another person passing by, you were a portal. A messenger. A divine alarm clock ringing through their illusions. And that's why they cannot stop thinking about you. Their soul remembers you, even if their ego pretends not to care. Some of them feel guilty for what they did to you, but their pride won't let them apologize. So they watch. They observe. They sit behind fake profiles or secret accounts, hoping to see your downfall, but instead, they see you rising. And it crushes them. Every success you experience is a mirror reflecting their failure to appreciate your worth. You are not just a phase in their life. You were a divine appointment. But they treated it like a coincidence. And now they're left with regret, shame, and a deep obsession masked as indifference. They hate that they still care. They hate that you still matter. There's a reason why they couldn't move on. It's because no one else carries your frequency. They try to replace you, mimic you, even ridicule you to diminish your power. But nothing works. The energy of a chosen one cannot be copied, cloned, or controlled. You are custom-made by the divine. Your spirit cannot be counterfeited. And even if someone looks like you, they'll never be you. That's what drives your stalkers crazy. You were the one that made them feel alive. And now that you're gone, they can't recreate the experience, so they spiral into fixation and fantasy. These stalkers often exist in emotional limbo. They don't know whether to admire you or resent you. And so, they do both. They build you up in their minds, then try to tear you down behind closed doors. They tell others, "I don't care about them," but they check your page every night before they sleep. They replay your words. They remember your touch. They regret the distance. But their ego would rather suffer silently than admit the truth, that losing you is their soul's biggest ache. And obsessing over you has become their only way to keep you close. You were not the source of their pain, you were the catalyst for their healing. But instead of embracing that growth, they rejected it. They weren't ready to evolve, so they blamed you for triggering their awakening. That's the ironic part. You came as light, but they treated you like fire, too hot, too dangerous, too real. And now that they've stepped back into darkness, they miss the warmth you brought. Even if they don't say it, they feel it. And their soul knows it can't forget you. That's why they linger. That's why they stalk. That's why they search for pieces of you in places where you no longer reside. You were never meant to be just a memory. You are a living embodiment of divine timing. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your energy demands attention, even when you don't say a word. That's why people remember you. That's why you're unforgettable. Your silence speaks volumes. Your walk carries prophecy. Your eyes hold truth. And even if people can't explain why they're drawn to you, they feel it. You awaken things in them they didn't know existed. And for some, that awakening is overwhelming, even terrifying. So they obsess, hoping to understand what their spirit already knows. In many ways, their obsession is a cry for help. They're not just watching you because they're curious, they're watching because they're lost. Your light reminded them of who they could be, and now they're trying to find that version of themselves again. But instead of looking inward, they keep looking at you, hoping that by staying close to your glow, they'll somehow reignite their own flame. But healing doesn't happen through stalking. It happens through surrender. And until they're ready to confront their own shadows, your light will continue to haunt them more than it helps them. The presence of a chosen one always reveals two things in others: their potential and their pain. When you walk into a room, you don't just change the atmosphere, you change the people inside it. Some are uplifted. Others are exposed. Because your authenticity removes their masks. Your truth challenges their illusions. And your peace confronts their chaos. That's why some love you and others fear you. You carry divine contrast. And those who are not ready to evolve will either run from you, or watch you obsessively, hoping to understand what they refuse to become. Chosen one, you were born with a spiritual signature that cannot be erased or ignored. And it's that signature that leaves permanent marks on people's hearts, minds, and spirits. You don't just pass through lives, you penetrate souls. You stir up what has been buried for years. Dormant dreams awaken. Old wounds resurface. Your very presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to face their own reflection. That's why some try to run from you while secretly obsessing over everything you are. Because deep down, they know you are the divine interruption they didn't ask for but desperately needed. And now, they hover around your energy like lost satellites orbiting a sun they no longer have access to. Some of your stalkers are people who underestimated you. They thought you were just another face, just another encounter. But time has revealed your rarity. The more distance they try to place between you, the more they realize that your essence is irreplaceable. They scroll endlessly, hoping to find another soul that evokes the same feeling, but no one comes close. Your energy is singular. It is the fingerprint of heaven upon your life. And the realization that they mishandled that is driving them into a quiet madness. They can't reach you, but they can't stop chasing the memory of you either. This is what happens when someone disrespects the sacred. It never truly leaves them, it haunts them. There's a spiritual hunger in them they can't satisfy, and instead of looking inward, they turn toward you again and again. You've become their internal compass, even though they wouldn't dare admit it. Every move you make is watched with intensity. Your growth intimidates them, but it also inspires them. Your voice echoes in their conscience. And even your silence speaks louder than their noise. They wonder how you keep shining despite everything they threw your way. What they don't understand is that your light comes from above. You are fueled by divine favor, not external validation. That's what keeps you untouchable and unforgettable. This obsession becomes especially dangerous when it's masked as admiration. Because admiration without boundaries turns into spiritual trespassing. They want to taste your energy, hold your essence, and possess your presence, without earning the right to stand beside you. And that's when you must discern. Just because someone is drawn to you doesn't mean they're aligned with you. Many are fascinated, but not all are faithful. Some admire your light but would gladly dim it if it made them feel better about themselves. And that's why your intuition must remain sharp, your spirit guarded, and your energy protected at all times. In the Bible, even Jesus was followed by crowds who didn't truly know him. They were drawn to his miracles, fascinated by his presence, but when the truth became uncomfortable, they walked away. And still, they talked about him. They whispered, they watched from a distance. Because even when people reject the chosen, they can't forget them. You carry that same anointing. Your presence doesn't just change people, it exposes them. And exposure is uncomfortable. That's why some keep their distance but never truly disconnect. Their eyes are always on you, even when their words say otherwise. Some of your watchers are ex-lovers, old friends, or even family members who thought you would never rise. They knew your wounds. They saw your struggles. and they thought those battles would define you. But instead, you transformed. You evolved. You rose from ashes they expected to bury you in. And now, they don't know how to relate to the version of you that's aligned, empowered, and divinely protected. So they do the only thing their ego allows. They watch in silence, stalk in shame, and obsess in shadows. Because facing you would mean facing their own failure to grow. And most people would rather cling to delusion than admit they were wrong about a chosen one. Let's be honest, some of these people never loved you. They loved your light. They loved how you made them feel. They loved the energy you gave so freely. But when the time came to reciprocate, they disappeared. And now that your energy is no longer accessible, they crave what they once discarded. You were not just a moment of comfort, you were a divine gift. And the guilt they carry is overwhelming. They mask it with pride, but it seeps through their actions. The stalking, the watching, the random messages, the anonymous views, it's all evidence that they're not over you. And likely never will be. Because your light touched a place in them they never dared to touch on their own. Chosen one, your stalkers are not limited to individuals from your past. Some of them have never even met you physically, yet they feel spiritually tethered to your presence. They might have encountered your content online, seen a photo of you, or simply heard your name through someone else, and instantly, something ignited in them. That something is not random. It's spiritual memory. Their soul recognized your frequency as something ancient, powerful, and destined. This creates a longing that becomes obsession, because the mind tries to analyze what only the spirit understands. They don't just want to observe you, they want to understand why they're drawn to you like gravity itself. But they can't explain it, and that mystery drives them deeper into fixation. Even strangers can become emotionally entangled in your energy. They pass by you on the street and feel a jolt of something holy, something unshakable. You don't say a word, yet they feel like you said everything they needed to hear. Your energy precedes your voice. Your presence is prophetic. And so, while some people try to play it cool on the surface, inside they're unraveling. You stir something eternal within people, and not everyone has the maturity or spiritual depth to process what that means. So they stalk. They dream. They obsess. Not because you did something, but because your very existence confronts the emptiness inside them. Your energy triggers what has been repressed. And that's where the obsession really begins. You don't need to speak harsh truths for someone to feel convicted. Your life alone convicts them. Your integrity exposes their compromise. Your discipline highlights their disorder. Your strength reveals their avoidance. And your clarity illuminates the lies they've told themselves for years. That's why they can't stop watching. They are hoping, in some desperate way, to find healing through your movements. But healing doesn't come from mimicking the chosen, it comes from doing the inner work. And until they choose that path, they will remain outside your orbit, worshiping from afar what they were never willing to honor up close. There's a particular torment that comes with losing access to someone truly divine. And you, chosen one, are divine by design. You were never meant to be easily understood or casually kept. You were sent as a lesson, as a blessing, as a mirror. And when they mishandled you, they activated a cycle of internal collapse. It's not a punishment, it's a divine law. When someone dishonors what is sacred, they become spiritually restless. That restlessness becomes obsession. And that obsession becomes a prison. They check your every move not out of love, but because they're trapped in a cycle of spiritual consequence, searching for redemption they're too proud to ask for. Even when they try to cut ties with you, they find that your energy follows them. Songs remind them of you. Dreams bring your face back into their mind. Random signs, moments, synchronicities, it all loops back to you. Not because you're trying to haunt them, but because their soul knows it still has unfinished work to do. Your departure triggered an inner alarm they can't silence. And until they evolve, they will keep seeing you in places you've never physically been. That is the magnitude of your impact. You didn't just walk into their life, you rearranged the furniture of their soul. And now, no matter how far they run, they're still sitting in the echo of your presence. Some of them assumed time would erase the memory of you. That life would go on, and you'd fade like every other person. But what they didn't realize is that the chosen one doesn't operate on ordinary timelines. Your existence becomes part of their spiritual DNA. And time, instead of diluting your presence, actually deepens it. The more distance they have from you, the more clearly they realize your value. It's like trying to forget the sun by sitting in the dark. The absence only intensifies the memory. You were the light they took for granted. And now, they fumble in the shadows, longing for what they once dismissed as ordinary. This is why you must never shrink to make others comfortable. Don't dull your light just because others cannot handle your brilliance. Their obsession is not your burden to carry, it's their lesson to learn. Your only responsibility is to remain aligned, authentic, and anointed. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them sit in their silent revelations. Because your journey is not about being understood, it's about being obedient to your divine assignment. And the more you walk in that obedience, the more you will expose, heal, and disrupt. That's why you're being stalked. That's why they can't stop thinking about you. Your life is a living sermon, and it's still preaching, even when you're silent. Chosen one, many of these stalkers don't even recognize that what they feel is spiritual obsession. They think it's nostalgia, or curiosity, or even innocent interest. But if they were honest with themselves, they'd admit that your image doesn't just live in their memory, it's carved into their consciousness. Every time they try to replace you, they're reminded of what can't be duplicated. Every conversation with someone else lacks your depth. Every new connection lacks your essence. You are the living proof that something higher exists. And now, they are spiritually famished, starving for what only your presence ever fed. But they no longer have access, and that is their silent torment, watching you evolve while they remain stuck in the shadows of what could have been. The more you rise, the more they feel the pressure of their own stagnation. Your elevation doesn't just inspire, it convicts. It forces them to acknowledge all the growth they could have had, all the healing they resisted, all the blessings they forfeited when they chose fear over faith. You became a timeline they left behind, and now every success you embody is a reminder of what their spirit missed out on. So they stalk, not to celebrate, but to compare. They look for cracks, hoping to feel superior. But instead, they witness grace. They witness strength. They witness you becoming everything they denied within themselves. And that contradiction is what keeps them spiraling between admiration and resentment. And yet, chosen one, you must understand this: their obsession is not your responsibility to soothe. You were sent to activate, not to babysit their growth. You were the divine invitation to a new dimension, but they declined. And now, the door is closed. Your energy has moved on. You no longer resonate on the same level, and that's why they feel the gap so painfully. This is spiritual justice in motion. Not revenge, but alignment. Not punishment, but divine correction. The distance they now experience is not rejection, it's reflection. It's the universe showing them who you were, who they were, and what they refused to become. And so they are left watching, wondering, aching for another chance at something they never honored when it was right in front of them. You didn't abandon them, you ascended. And in doing so, you revealed the truth: not everyone is meant to come with you. Some people were only meant to witness your rise from a distance. And though that truth is bitter for them, it is sacred for you. Because your growth is not for the approval of stalkers. It's for the fulfillment of your purpose. Let them watch. Let them ache. Let them wrestle with the mystery of your existence. Your life is a divine riddle they cannot solve without evolving. And until they choose to grow, they will remain in the loop, watching your every step while unable to match your stride. Because you no longer move from trauma, you move from truth. And that truth is what both attracts and terrifies them. Some will try to reconnect, pretending they've changed, masking their obsession as reconnection. But you'll feel it. Your spirit will know. Discernment is your birthright. And when someone's intentions are impure, your intuition will scream louder than their apologies. You're no longer in the season of giving unlimited access to those who misused your kindness. Your peace is too expensive. Your energy is too rare. And your time is too sacred to be spent entertaining people who only want to consume, not contribute. This is the season of boundaries. The season of clarity. The season where you protect your light like the treasure it is, because you now know, some people don't want healing, they want a shortcut through your energy. And this is why divine protection surrounds you like armor. What they don't see when they watch you is the angels that walk beside you. They think you're alone, but heaven has assigned watchers over your soul. Every attack, every slander, every hidden agenda is seen. And while they may think their silent obsessions go unnoticed, the spiritual realm takes note. God does not play about his chosen. Every hidden hand lifted against you is met with consequence. Every malicious thought carries karmic weight. And while you walk in peace, they sit in confusion, wondering why their lives unravel the more they fixate on you. It's simple, they are out of alignment. And until they release the obsession and seek divine healing, they will continue to face the disruption that always comes when one touches what is sacred without reverence. You are a mirror they can't escape, a voice they can't silence, a presence they can't forget. But chosen one, you must keep walking. Don't slow down for those stuck in cycles. Don't turn back for those too prideful to repent. Your path is ordained. Your mission is unfolding. And every step forward you take leaves an imprint of truth behind. Let your stalkers watch. Let them obsess. Let them try to decode your peace. But never let their confusion distract you from your calling. Because you were never meant to be a character in their story, you are the revelation they were supposed to receive. Whether they embrace it or not is not your burden. Your only task is to shine. To live. To walk in divine purpose. That's your assignment. And heaven is backing you every step of the way. Chosen one, never forget, your very existence is disruptive to the systems and illusions of this world. You were not sent here to blend in, you were sent to expose, to awaken, to liberate. And sometimes, the very people who needed your light the most are the ones who turned against you, then later became your silent followers. They didn't want to change, but they couldn't forget the one who made them feel something real. They couldn't handle your authenticity, but they craved the certainty you walk in. You challenged their illusions, and though they rejected the truth in the moment, that truth now echoes inside them with no way to escape it. That's why they obsess. That's why they follow from the shadows. Because your truth outlived their denial. It's important that you never internalize the energy of those who stalk you. Don't mistake their obsession for affection, or their fixation for reconciliation. Spiritual obsession is not love, it's the soul's cry for what it refused to honor when it had the chance. It's not your role to heal them now. That part of the story is closed. Your assignment is elevation, not resuscitation. Let them sit in the lessons they wrote for themselves. Because while they were busy trying to figure you out, you were becoming. While they watched, you transformed. While they judged, you ascended. And now, your very existence is a prophecy fulfilled. You are proof that healing is possible. That rising is real. That chosen doesn't mean perfect, it means protected, prepared, and divinely positioned. And now, it's your season to walk in fullness. Let this message be your reminder, you are not being watched because you're weak, you're being watched because you carry power. They follow you because they know you're walking in something eternal. And deep down, they wish they had honored your light when it was offered to them in love. But grace has moved. Favor has shifted. And now you walk under a new covering, a new anointing, a new chapter. You are no longer accessible to those who only come to drain. You are no longer available for spiritual leeches. Your energy is reserved for those who match your mission, align with your frequency, and honor the divine in you without needing to control it. If this message spoke to the truth you carry, type in the comments, "I walk in power, and I am no longer accessible to my past." Let it be a spiritual declaration over your life. Like this video to affirm your energy. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so that each divine message reaches your spirit right when you need it most. And share this video with someone who is also awakening, so they too can be reminded of who they are. We rise together, and in unity, our light becomes even more unstoppable. This is not just content, this is spiritual warfare through truth. And you, chosen one, are the proof that light always wins. I want to express my deep gratitude to all of you who support us through Buy Me a Coffee. Your generosity helps us grow and deliver even more powerful and healing content to our chosen community. If you feel led to support, the link is in the first pinned comment. Your help means the world. And before you leave, I encourage you to watch the video on screen now, or dive into our full playlist filled with messages crafted to strengthen your soul and expand your spiritual journey. May you always walk in divine light, be surrounded by sacred protection, and never forget the impact you carry. Until next time, stay awake, stay powerful, and stay extraordinary.